Follow and subscribe Stenolab India for correct pronunciation, accurate speed and clear voice. Legal dictation. Exercise number 5. Speed 100 words per minute. Get ready for the dictation. Start. The doctrine of due process is a fundamental principle in constitutional law, ensuring that no individual is deprived of life, liberty, or property without appropriate legal procedures and protections. Enshrined in both substantive and procedural contexts, due process serves as a safeguard against arbitrary governmental actions and affirms the rule of law. Procedural due process pertains to the fairness of legal proceedings, requiring that individuals receive adequate notice, an opportunity to be heard, and an impartial tribunal before the government takes action against them. In criminal cases, this includes the right to legal counsel, the right to confront witnesses, and the presumption of innocence until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Similarly, in civil matters, due process mandates that litigants be afforded a fair hearing, access to evidence, and the right to appeal adverse decisions. Any deviation from these protections may render a judgment void or subject to appellate review. Conversely, substantive due process examines whether a law itself is just, reasonable, and not overly broad or vague. This doctrine prohibits legislation that infringes upon fundamental rights, such as freedom of speech, privacy, and equal protection under the law. Courts employ different levels of judicial scrutiny when evaluating governmental restrictions on these rights. Under strict scrutiny, a law is deemed unconstitutional unless it serves a compelling government interest and is narrowly tailored to achieve that interest using the least restrictive means. This standard is typically applied in cases involving suspect classifications, such as race, national origin, or religion, or when fundamental rights are at stake. Laws that fail this rigorous test are struck down as unconstitutional. The intermediate scrutiny standard, meanwhile, applies to cases involving quasi-suspect classifications, such as gender or legitimacy of birth. Here, the government must demonstrate that the challenged law advances an important government objective and is substantially related to achieving that objective. This test is less stringent than strict scrutiny but more demanding than rational basis review. Finally, rational basis review is the most deferential standard, requiring only that a law be rationally related to a legitimate government interest. This standard is often applied in economic regulations and social welfare policies, where courts grant significant leeway to legislative decision-making. Unless a law is wholly arbitrary or irrational, it is likely to withstand judicial scrutiny under this test. A pivotal case in substantive due process jurisprudence is Roe v. Wade, in which the Supreme Court recognized a constitutional right to privacy encompassing a woman's decision to terminate a pregnancy. Similarly, in Obergefell v. Hodges, the court ruled that laws prohibiting same-sex marriage violated both due process and equal protection guarantees. These rulings exemplify the judiciary's role in striking down laws that unduly burden individual liberties. Ultimately, The principle of due process embodies the essence of fairness and justice, ensuring that government actions adhere to constitutional constraints. As legal interpretations evolve, courts continue to define and expand the scope of due process protections, reinforcing its vital role in upholding democratic governance and the rule of law. Stop. Thank you.